Okay, let's go. Let's start it. I'm not even sure if I look good in here. Now, let's go. Rolling. And we start at 3, 2, 1. Alright, welcome back to Wealth Habits Project. This is Manny. Our today's topic is good versus bad debt and how you should avoid the bad. I mean, obviously, what the fuck am I talking about? Avoid bad debt. The most obvious. Alright, welcome back to Wealth Habits Project. This is Manny. Today we're talking about good versus bad debt and how you should utilize them. Debt isn't evil. It's a tool, and you have to understand that because this economy that we live in runs on debt. And if you know how to use them, you can become very rich. Quick example of that would be mortgages versus credit cards. So with mortgages, obviously you're buying a house and nobody has those $1 million, $2 million sitting around to buy a house, or lower if you don't live in California, unlike me, unfortunately. But if you don't live in California and if you can't afford a house, you should buy it straight out with money that you already saved. So if you have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 sitting there, which is first of all insane, you can just buy a house outright. But if you don't, if you want to buy a house in California or New York or any of the other expensive states, get a mortgage that you can actually afford. Buy a house that you can actually afford and give that 20% down. If you can't afford 20% of that, you should not buy that house. So if it's a $1 million house, put 20% down, that $200,000, save that up, live in an apartment before that, or save up money however you can, but prepare for that 20% down, because otherwise you'll be charged the fees. It likely means you can't afford that house and you'll be in mortgage payments for the maximum amount of time. Probably the entire time you live in that house. And you don't want to do that. You want to get that debt, that mortgage out of your head as soon as possible. An example of bad debt is most credit cards. I know there are a lot of benefits to those credit cards, with the traveling perks that you get, with all the points that you can get, all the free cashback that you can get. But if your credit card company charges you insane rates, such as 20, 23, 25%, avoid those companies, avoid those credit cards at all costs. Do your research before you buy a credit card and only get the credit cards that have the lowest rate. So in any unforeseeable future that you miss your payments, you don't have to pay that insane amount in the first place. In the first place, you never be in debt, first of all. Just pay all that money back, get those points, get those rewards in. But if any circumstances that you can't, only get the credit cards that offer you the lowest cost possible. And you need to remember to not spend all of your credit card limit. That's an important part too, because that helps you with your credit card history and your credit score. Told since we were children that all debt is bad, avoid it at all costs. I'm Indian and I personally know this because my family would never get into debt for any reason at all, unless it's like buying a house. And you shouldn't have the mentality to never get into debt for anything bad. If you want to get into debt for buying your Gucci bags, all those luxury other brands, you should never play with money in the first place. If you want to get into debt, it should only be to buy assets, like a house or any other investments that you have to get loans for. If that investment is going to make you more money than the loan itself, get into debt. That will make you more money than you can ever imagine. And if you utilize that debt perfectly, and I mean pitch perfect, you do all the numbers, you can become insanely rich. We see a lot of people online saying that all debt is bad, such as Dave Ramsey and everyone at his company, Dave Ramsey Solutions. But there are other people like the Rich Dad, the person who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. He's been self-proclaimed, because I'm not sure, I don't have any credible sources to say that he is in $1.5 billion in debt. He's personally said it, no one can confirm it, but if he's that rich and he's in that much debt, he's obviously doing something right. He has to be doing something right, or otherwise he would have been crushed by those big banks long ago. So the key difference between good and bad debt is the ROI, the return on investment. And if you get that right, you can become insanely rich. And here's the interesting part. Rich people, the insanely rich people, do get into debt on purpose, but they'll know how to leverage it. So a good example of that would be person A, who just rents, never buys anything, never goes into credit card debt. He has to be living in like a monk. But then you have the option B, that which is most people, and most people are also broke. But if you got into the category of you want to buy a house, you want to invest, you want all the good things in life, you probably would have to get into debt, but you need to know how to use that debt. You know how to pay it back, you know how to leverage it, you know how all the numbers work. It was a terrible video to begin with. What the fuck? Wealth Habits Project, video number 5 on camera.